because we are going to do practice test 2, practice test 2 right now. So just like before, look at the front page. It is one massive problem. So what do you want to do first? We have to fill in all those blanks and sketch it. So what do you think? Factor. How does the top factor? Well, are you paying attention, Angel? How does the top factor?
Take out a 2.
Take out a 2. I'm going to do that over here. And if I take out a 2, then I can see I have the difference of squares. Now remember, when you take out the 2, you have to keep it. It stays there. How about the denominator? How does that factor? Minus 3, minus 4. Is that okay? Practice that on your own if you're struggling with that. Boil it back, make sure you've got the right combination. We did. This is correct. So what do you notice? Right away you notice you can cancel. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm not going to be lazy, I'm going to actually rewrite my problem because this is now where everything's coming from, right here. I'm not looking at this anymore. This is where the action is. All right, so you've got 5 things over there that you have to fill in. So you get points for filling them in, you get points for putting them on the graph. So, fill in something for me. What can I fill in? Vertical asymptote would be x equals 4. Because vertical asymptotes come from the denominator. If you don't know that, make a note of it so you can study it. Vertical asymptotes come from the denominator. And when I fill in the blank over there, am I going to put 4? Not if I want full credit, I'm going to put x equals 4. That's the equation of the line. It crosses the x-axis, so it's x equals. All right, what else can I put into my picture?
Horizontal.
Horizontal asymptote, be careful. Horizontal asymptote will be y equals 2. Because where do horizontals come from? Boxing in the x's, right? All right, what else can I put in? A hole. Definitely we're going to have a hole because we canceled. And the hole will be where x is 3, right? Everybody see that? 3? And then I'm going to take that 3 and plug it back in. So what am I going to get? 2 times 6. Oh shoot, over -1. So that's going to be way down there, -12. 3 comma -12, sorry about that. All right, what else can I put in there? Oh, Naz, you were on the bus? Yeah, okay, go ahead and sit down. Okay, no, that's the quiz. You'll have to come in and take that tomorrow morning, or say after school, whatever it works for you. All right, what else goes in here, guys? We're missing some stuff. We gotta get going here. Our intercepts. We're missing the y-intercept. How do we find a y-intercept? We do exactly what we just did, but we put in 0 instead. So 2 times 3 over -4. So my y-intercept is, I'm going to reduce that, -1.5, -3/2. How do I get a y-intercept? I put in 0 for x. last thing I'm missing is my x-intercept, which comes from my numerator. Now, most of you, I hope, can tell that what's going to make this 0 is -3. But if you can't, you just take your numerator, 2x plus 6, and set it equal to 0 and solve it. And sure enough, you get x equals -3. The x-intercept comes from setting the numerator equal to 0. Now, all your blanks should be filled in, and we're ready to sketch, right? So, can you see what it looks like?
Yep.
Hopefully, you can see this part, right? Don't forget it goes through the hole also. So all of those are connected. As you go this way, you get closer to that asymptote. As you go this way, you get closer to that asymptote. On a problem like this, it's easy to move on. Don't move on yet. Remember, your picture has to have 2 pieces, right? So, I don't have any more dots. This is it. So where's the piece over here, do you think? Right up here. And you are done with that page. Okay? All right. Now we have some inequalities. Now, why don't you just take your iPads? Your phone's supposed to be in the car. Yeah. Okay, go ahead and take a picture with your phone and then put your phone in the caddy. Okay. All right, next problem. This is an inequality. Got a whole bunch of them here on this page. Okay? What are the 2 things we got to zero in on before we even start, or before we start into the meat of the problem? We have to have a 0, and we know we're going to use a number 1. Okay? Every single time we have a sign like that. All right, so how are we going to get those things? I got my number line already. How am I going to get my 0? Minus 4x. And when you put a number line on there, that triggers in your brain, hopefully, okay, I gotta have some dots on that number line. Where are the dots gonna come from? The factors. So the next step is I have to factor this. What can I do to it? Bring out an x. Don't overcomplicate it. You guys have been doing GCFs your whole life. Right? Now where do the zeros go? Or the dots? Where do the dots go? The dots go at 0 and 4. And they are open dots. And now I'm going to figure out where to shade. So it's what we were talking about earlier. Pick a number. 1. Doesn't matter what number you pick. 1. Now 1 is in here. So I'm going to plug 1 in. If I get a yes, I'm going to shade it. If I get a no, I'm not. All right, so 1. 1 would be 1 times -3 times. Is that less than 0? Yes. So I'm going to shade that. That means these aren't shaded, so my answer is just 0 to 4. B is a little bit more involved than that, but the rules are the same. I gotta have a 0, and I'm gonna use a number line. So here's my number line. And how am I going to get a 0? Minus the 3. This time it's a little harder though, call that 3 over 1, because I can't do anything here until I get a common denominator. So I'm going to multiply this one by x minus 2. Does that make sense to everyone? And now my common denominator will be x minus 2. Right? Now what's on top? X plus 4, be careful, minus 3x plus 6. Right? Which becomes negative 2x plus 10. Everybody good at this point? So now I'm ready to put my dots on. This one is easy. The dots at 2. This one is easy for some of you, but it's not so easy for others. So if you can't see where that dot goes, set it equal to 0 and solve it. And that will tell you where the dot goes. The dot goes at 5 and 2. So we have a dot at 2 and a dot at 5. Now, here's one of these fine points you have to remember. I know the symbol in the problem has an or equal to, so I want to color in the dots. But remember, if it came from the denominator, it will never be colored in. So the 2 won't be colored, but the 5 will. Did you catch that on your quiz? Now pick a number. 3. 3 is right here. You have to pay attention to where your number is. You could pick 6. You could pick 0. But pay attention to where it is, because that's where you're going to shade or not shade. So 3 goes into my problem. 3 would give me negative 6 plus 10, which is 4, over 1. 3 minus 2. Does that give me a bigger than 0 number? So I'm going to shade in there. And the answer to my problem is 0, or not 0, 2 to 5. 2 to 5. All right, folks? All right, C is easier in one way. It's already factored for you. So I can go straight to the number line and put my dots on. They'll both be colored negative 3 and 3. Did I go too fast there? Are you with me? Now, what makes this problem a little more time consuming is
you gotta like test all that.
Because of this right here, I'm gonna have to pick a number out here, like negative 4. I'm gonna have to pick a number in here, like 0, and a number out here like 4. I have to do every single section. Okay? So here we go. Negative 4 plus 3 is negative 1. Negative 4 minus 3 is negative 7, but I'm squaring it, so it's 49. Does that give me greater than 0?
No.
Don't change. All right, let's put in 0. 0 gives me 3 times 9, because I squared that, so it would be 9. Does that give me a number bigger than 0?
Yes.
Shade it. 4. 4 plus 3 is 7. 4 minus 3 is 1. Squared is 1. Does that give me a number bigger than 0?
Yes.
Shade it. So then in the answer blank, I will write down everything that I've shaded, which is what?
Bracket negative 3.
Bracket negative 3 all the way to infinity? Ceres, why not? Remember, that's colored in. Right? That one's colored in. Ceres is a little concerned because yesterday or one other day, we had a problem where that wasn't colored.
That's what it's doing.
Couldn't do this, right? We would have to do the separate sections, but because that is colored in this time, Ceres, I literally colored everything from -3 to the end. Does that make sense? It's confusing. A lot of things going on. All right, D. It's an inequality. I need a number line. And I need a 0. Would you be okay if I added the x and subtracted the 6?
Yep.
Because I know I need a 0. I'm anticipating 3 dots because it's an x cubed. And I'm gonna need to, oh shoot, I can't group this, can I? Not groupable? So we'll do the PRRs and divide. So options are factors of 6 over factors of 1. So what do you want to try? 1. You guys don't try 1 very often, but I think it was a good pick this time. Good job. That means one of my dots on the number line is 1. I don't know where it goes. I'm just, for a moment, I'm gonna put it there. I'll move it when I figure out what the other ones are. But whatever gave you a 0 is a dot on the number line. Where are the other dots gonna come from?
3 and 2.
They're gonna come from x squared plus 5x plus 6. Right here. And that factors is x 3 and 2. So I'm gonna have to move this 1 over to here. Because now my other dots are at -3 and -2. 3 dots means 3 factors. Here are 2 of them. What's the other factor? X minus 1. Very, very good. It is so easy, and it happened in your homework. It's so easy to forget this one. Don't forget him. He is a dot, and because he's a dot, he is also a factor. All right, so pick a number. 2. 2's out here. 2 plus 3 is 5. 2 plus 2 is 4. 2 minus 1 is 1. Now I'm going to multiply all those together. Just put in 2's. I get 5, 4, and 1. All times together. Is it less than 0? Nope. So I'm not shading where the 2 is. So I will shade here. Won't. Will. Again, I'm always allowed to shortcut that, do that alternating thing, as long as I don't have this, right? That is when I can't shortcut. So my answer, here's my answer, -infinity to -3, and then -2 to 1. Now, what's our test look like? This, right? So you're gonna have some inequalities, but then all of a sudden there's gonna be n equals no number line. My answer is gonna be x equals 5 or something, right? So what's my strategy here? It's an equals. What is my common denominator? 8x. Somebody said 16? Kids, there are billions of common denominators. Just get one. make all your denominators the same. 8x will be the smallest, but it isn't the only option. You do whatever you want that makes all of the denominators the same. I don't care what the denominators are. Why doesn't it matter what they are? Because we're just gonna ditch them anyway, right? Just make them the same. All right, so what do we got? 16 plus 6x equals 9x, is that right? So 16 equals 3x and x equals 16 thirds. Put a unit, oh, no unit, not a word problem. So the answer is 16 thirds. Are we okay with that, guys? Because the next one's just the same, but a little bit different. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and factor this denominator so I don't have to recopy it again. How will that denominator factor? Plus 5, plus 3? We okay? All right, now we gotta make them all the same. So this one needs an x plus 3. This one needs an x plus 5. And that one doesn't need anything. All right, here we go. 2x squared, because I'm doing the distributive property, plus 6x. 2x squared plus 6x. Now, here is where we have to be careful. This is a minus. So I am subtracting that whole thing. So it's gonna be minus x squared plus x plus 10. Look on your paper, guys. It's minus this entire fraction. So that negative is going to get distributed. Oh, now what? Yeah, so let's remember, this is one side, so that'll be x squared plus 7x plus 10, is that right? Equals 3x plus 15. Now let's bring these things over. Let's get our 0 because it's quadratic. So x squared plus 4x minus 5. Double check that for me. What do I do now? Factor. How does that factor? It has to be a plus and a minus. Plus 5 minus 1. So x equals negative 5 or 1. Extraneous roots are possible. What happens in the problem if we put a negative 5? If you say x is negative 5, what happens? I get a 0, not allowed to have a 0 in the bottom, so guess what? That answer is Extraneous. Is 1 okay? Yeah, 1's fine. Lincoln?
So on the test, when we solve it, do we need to like show those answers and then cross them out?
Yeah. Or mark one, just circle 1 and put 1 in the answer blank or whatever, but yeah, when you solve it, you're gonna get this. Yeah, and then you need to get rid of 1.
So how we tell is just plugging that.
Yep, if it makes the denominator 0. So when we talked about this, Cam, I said some kids right from the beginning of the problem, before we do any of this, right from the beginning, will look at that denominator and say, I don't know what x is, but it can't be -5 and it can't be -3. Right from the beginning, I know that. So then when I solve the problem, if I get one of those, then I know I have to pitch it. All right, finally, our word problems. A, Jane can build a shelter in 4 hours, Maurice can do it in 6. How long does it take them to build it together? What is our general formula? 1 over alone plus 1 over alone equals 1 over together. Kids, that will never let you down. If you just do that, you won't get every one of these right. I hope you got it right on your quiz. 1 over 4, that's Jane. 1 over 6, that's Maurice. How long does it take them together? That's 1 over x. What's my common denominator? I heard somebody say 24x. Perfect. I heard somebody else say 12x. Perfect. Somebody else could say 36x. I mean, there's billions of them. So I'll just go ahead and use 24. So I'll multiply this one by 6x, this one by 4x, and this one by, what did I say, 24. Now all of my denominators match. So 6x plus 4x, remember this is times, equals 24. 10x equals 24. Now, I got 24 tenths, so I have to reduce that to 12 fifths. Those of you that use 12 as your common denominator, you just got this automatically. And put a unit on it, it would be 12 fifths hours. So let me say it one more time. Do not waste any time trying to figure out the best common denominator. Just get one. And then reduce when you have to. Whoa!
Sorry.
No, keep going. No, get your head up. All right.
I was praying.
Uh-huh. You're gonna be praying. You got a test coming up. All right, here we go. Last one. What is our general setup for this problem? Amount times percent plus amount times percent equals amount times percent. Probably gonna need a calculator for this one. So let's fill in our percentages. So we've got 54% and 45% and 49%. All good? Now the amounts. How much must be mixed with 6 quarts to get, okay, how much? If I mix X and 6, that's going to be X plus 6 or 6 plus X, whichever way you want to write it. Right? So here we go. Just gonna solve it. I was gonna try to do it without a calculator. always gonna be a distribute, make sure you don't forget that. Where we'll get a mistake sometimes is right here. If you're subtracting 0.54 minus 0.49, does everybody understand that's gonna be 0.05? Let your calculator do the work if you're at all confused. I got 4.8 quarts. So everybody got? Okay, I want to do the first problem on practice test 3. Because tomorrow, we not only need to do the practice test, but we also need to go over all your quizzes. So make sure we have time to do that. So, let's move on to practice test 3. We'll do this and then we'll be done for the day. So this is the big problem. As you are studying, you can always recopy this on a different sheet of paper or print a new one from Canvas and do this on your own to make sure that you know what you're doing. Because there's a lot of points on this page right here. And guess what? If you factor wrong, your history. So factor correctly, double check your factoring. How does the top factor? Minus 5 plus 1, I heard someone say. Because negative 5 times positive 1 is negative 5. And negative 5 plus 1 is negative 4. Perfect. How about the bottom? Take a 2 out, and that'll be x squared minus 1.
X plus 1.
Keep the 2. X minus 1, x plus 1. Now let's just stop right there. Make sure you got that. Okay. So what do you notice on there? So we end up with x minus 5 over 2, x minus 1. And this is what you're going to graph. All right, give me some stuff. Fill in some blanks. Any order's fine. Just vertical asymptote is x equals 1. Right here, that's where your vertical asymptote comes from, your parentheses.
Horizontal is 1/2.
Horizontal is y equals 1/2. Because you have a 1x over a 2x. 1/2. Alright, what x?
X-intercept.
X-intercept, look here. Where's the x-intercept? 5. How do I find my y-intercept?
Or plug in 0.
Plug in 0. So I have negative 5 over 2 times negative 1. Negative 5 over negative 2 is positive 5/2. 2.5. Put in 0. Do the math. What do I still need? My whole. And my whole is going to be where x is negative 1. So now I'm going to do what I just got done doing, only instead of putting in 0, I'm going to put in negative 1. So negative 1 minus 5 is negative 6 over 2 times. -1 minus 1 is -2. So -6 over -4 is positive 3/2. So I have a whole at -1 3/2. All your blanks should be filled in. Are you ready to connect the dots? Ready to connect them? Right here, you got a couple of them. We need to connect those. And then where's the other one? Right here. And there we go. Alright, so we'll pick up there tomorrow and go over all your quizzes. Those of you that haven't taken a quiz, it's either today after school or tomorrow before school. Alright, that's it. Those are the 2 times. So pick them up. Have a quiz to make up. Mary, you want to introduce yourself?